Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of SportsPoint in the new year. My name is Jacob Spoerl, and I got some guests here with me, Alex Proctor and Brody Kupsky. How you guys doing?
Alex, you can go first. I don't care.
I'm doing good.
You guys have been here before, obviously, and things are a little different. I got new glasses.
I didn't notice.
I was gonna say.
But that's it. That's all that's changed. Obviously, very excited. Alex Proctor, you got some things cooking in the hockey world. A lot of things have developed in other leagues and football that I really, I've taken time to accept them. The Packers are not in the Super Bowl as I predicted. So obviously life goes that way. But we're going to get to that in a little bit. We'll start off with our usual first segment of the show, the Crowning Champion segment, highlighting anything big in the sports world. Honestly, I guess for me, I'm going to highlight Micah Hyde as my crowning champion. Former Packers and Bills safety just announced yesterday as of recording that he retired. He was a really good safety for the Packers. And traded him to the Bills, which, was a little weird choice. But he was on the practice squad this last year for Buffalo, but he had a really solid career and had a lot of potential and was overall a very, very solid player. That's who I've got. What about you, gentlemen?
I guess I'll go. Badgers men's basketball, back in the top 25 after a 7-game win streak. They're up to, I think, number 17 now in the nation. Hoping to continue this stretch into March because it's going to start ramping up really this whole next month and into March. It's going to be insane. So get ready, Badgers Nation.
Heck yeah. Alex?
For my crowning champion, I got Jakob Dobas. He is a rookie goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens. Just got called up at the beginning of January. So far in his first 5 starts, he is 4-1. Mainly, I picked Dobas because I got to play against him in junior hockey, and
oh wow,
the brief times we got to talk, super nice kid, super excited for what he's got in store.
So the J is silent in Jakob?
Jakob Dobas. Yeah.
Dang, that's cool, man. So how many games did you play? Or I guess you weren't really against him.
Probably about 6.
Dang. Wow,
Yeah.
so you know Kyler Murray, and you potentially know maybe a future NHL player. I don't know. We'll see. And
current
Current NHL.
There you go. And you're going to be one too, right? Heck yeah. All right, that'll take us to the next segment, the 3-point try campus roundup. Do you actually want to start with a little recap on Pointers hockey? Because I feel like that's what people actually want to hear.
Yeah, we'll jump in the hockey real quick, just kind of skim over it. So Friday we took on UW Stout at Stout. It was an absolute icebox, wasn't it, Brody?
Oh, freezing.
Oh, it was freezing.
Freezing.
Yep. So we put up a 5-1 win against Stout. Pretty good game. Pretty even up until the third period.
Lyric and I had a good time besides freezing. It was a really good game.
It is a cold rink. So good game on Friday, boys. It was very back and forth, like I said, up until the third period, and we were just kind of able to break away. And then looking into Saturday, once again, back at Stout, cold as usual. It was a lot slower game, very, very back and forth, but 0-0 through 3 periods. We were able to sneak out the 1-0 victory in overtime with a little bit of fisticuffs to end it.
Hey, fight night in Menominee, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I was at I don't remember which non-conference game I called that with Liam, and it was you guys had just like a moment. It was when Peyton Hart, he scored. We've had him on the show. He scored 2 goals in 9 seconds or 6 seconds, something like that.
College
that
of
was
Scholastica.
That was insane, and yeah, Matthew Falls did miss a wide open goal, but you guys scored right at the.
Dude, Matthew Falls scored this weekend.
I know he made up for it.
okay, let's give this the Falsey. He was on 3-game goal streak.
That's crazy.
He was.
That's crazy.
4 goals in 3 games. You got to give it to the kid.
Liam,
he's hot.
if you listen to the broadcast, his voice was like, "Oh my, he's gonna score." And it was just like, "Oh," like he just felt so bad for him, but he redeemed himself. He did redeem himself.
He did get the empty net finally.
Yes.
So he's made up for his mistakes.
Yeah, and then I mean, you guys obviously talked a lot. We've talked a little bit about River Falls in the past in the show, but I feel like you guys are going to play them again pretty soon. Am I wrong?
Yep. So this Friday and Saturday we're gonna play River Falls here at home, 7 p.m. both nights. It's gonna be a good one. I will go ahead and give away a little hint on next week though. We will have some special jerseys on Friday for Military Appreciation Night. So
Shout out Will. Yeah, I mean I'm so excited. Only 6 games left of the regular season, right? Mm-hmm. And we'll head in the playoffs.
yeah.
Pointers all the way this time.
Yeah.
I said that for the Bills and the Packers, and that didn't work out. So I hopefully I didn't just jinx you. But anyway,
third time's a charm.
yeah, exactly. There you go. The power of superstition. That's going to lead us, Brody. What do you have for us for this segment?
Basketball between both men's and women's. I'll briefly cover because they played a bunch of games over the break. Men's basketball is currently 13-5 overall, 3-4 in conference play. So they kind of fell off a little bit. Start of conference play, I guess I should say. Most recently played at Eau Claire last Saturday. Lost this game 71-66. I think Eau Claire is getting a little bit better, so not surprised, but it kind of fallen off a little bit.
Yeah.
Josiah Butler, 24 points, 0 rebounds, and 3 assists. The men's basketball team just fell out of the standings or rankings, so hopefully they can bring it back up. But so far it's been, I would say, it's a successful season compared to most other seasons. Women's basketball currently 14-4, 4-3 in conference play. Also recently played Eau Claire last Saturday, but it was a home game, Alumni Day, I guess. They won this game 72-50, which I think I saw a stat. This was like the biggest win they've had over Eau Claire. I don't even remember when. It's been a while.
Wow.
Carissa Smith with 14 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists. I don't know if they're ranked yet, but they should be. They beat, I think they beat Whitewater, ranked Whitewater over the break, so they should be ranked at some point, hopefully. Yeah. The next games are on Wednesday. Both teams are against Whitewater. Men's are at home, women's on the road. But by the time this comes out, I think the next game would be this Saturday, I think against Platteville. Men's who lost to Platteville at home during the break, unfortunately, have to go down to Platteville, and Platteville's, I think, still number 1 in the nation. Or if they aren't,
they're up there.
They're up there.
Yeah, for sure.
Real quick.
Sure.
I would like to add, though, Brody, we have seen from the men's team they can play with top contenders.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
I mean,
Well, I mean, right when we left off, I think it was the last episode of last year where they upset number 1 Trine. That was huge. I can't remember the last time our basketball team, men's or women's, like had a massive upset like that.
And then they played against a couple other ranked opponents. They beat a number 18 team during, I think it was a week after the show. But then once they started conference play, they started out first game UW Platteville, which was number 4 at the time, lost here. Then they had to go down to Whitewater. They won that. Whitewater's a little bit down the season, thank God. And then they played lacrosse here, a number 14th ranked lacrosse, and lost in OT. So I think they could get that one back, but it stings a little bit because it was a ranked opponent. Mm-hmm. And a big loss the last few times now. Eau Claire, not ranked, but still a good opponent. And Oshkosh, a big loss, which me and Liam covered that game. It was just an ugly game at home. Oshkosh finally got their first conference win that game. It was just not a great game for the Pointers, just missing shots everywhere and not rebounding. They got out-rebounded by a lot. So there is some flaws with the team, but like every team, you can improve on those.
Would you say the women's, because I know for sure, we know that the men's team is definitely an improvement over last season. Would you say so for the women's team?
Women's, in terms of conference, I would say it's an improvement because they only won 3 games in conference last season. Actually 4 games. They matched the total of conference games that they won last year to this year already. And they still got how many left. So it's looking a little bit better, but obviously you got to really get into conference play now. I mean, they're playing Whitewater, who's still ranked,
of course.
Down in Whitewater, so it'll be a tough game. Their next home game is until February 8th. That'll be a while, but I think we'll have hockey that night, so it'll be fun to watch.
Heck yeah.
But, yeah, I would say it's an improvement in terms of conference for the women's team, but obviously you got to get to the end of the season. They did take it to an unbeaten Oshkosh team last weekend. They almost beat them in Oshkosh, but
big.
they also lost to a ranked Stout team. So
Yeah. I mean, conference is tough in every sport. I feel like we play. WIAC is always, for the most part, really solid. That'll take, I guess I'll take over for the men and women's swimming and dive teams. They just wrapped up the point invite with 7 event wins here at home. We'll start us off with the men team, who finished second at the point invite. I held up the number 1. Number 2, with 925 points, Camden Barwick won the 50-yard freestyle and contributed to the winning 400-yard freestyle relay. Will Nickel took first in the 200-yard backstroke. Declan Trant scored an impressive 486.95 in the 3-meter dive for first place. And Ryan Trantham won the 400-yard IM. Can you tell me what that is? The 400-yard IM?
individual medley. I couldn't remember.
Individual medley. All right. So won the 400-yard individual medley. Clearly, we all got to learn a little bit more about swimming and dive. That'll take us to the women's team. Finished third. So once again, I held the number 1. Finished third with 610 points. Holland Amber took first in the 200-yard freestyle. Rose Hansen won the 50-yard freestyle. So all around, really good performances. Hearing a lot of good stuff from basketball, obviously hockey, and we'll be at your games this weekend, and we'll be running some broadcasts here on the channel. But I think that'll be all for now. I guess that'll take us right into the NFL updates. So, yes, we are several weeks removed from the Packers being eliminated from the postseason. But before that, before I recap the Packers season and talk about, in my opinion, a pretty bright future, I think we should bring up the Super Bowl everybody's looking forward to.
Oh, I'm so excited, guys. I can't wait to watch a great rematch of two teams that nobody wanted in.
Yeah, Alex, what are your thoughts on Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans, the Kansas City Chiefs, for the third time in a row, attempting the first, what would be the first ever three-peat in NFL history for the Super Bowl and the Philadelphia Eagles?
I want both teams to lose.
Hey, Kendrick Lamar.
I want like.
I'm rooting for the meteor.
You guys ever see the TikToks where it's like the Kansas City Chiefs are winning and then Lamar Jackson comes out of the tunnel?
Yes, yeah, it's like Avengers Endgame.
Yeah,
like all
exactly.
All these other.
That's what I need to happen.
Danny DeVito comes in. What's going? It just gets really random.
Yeah,
I mean,
I want both teams to lose.
Look, I used to like the Eagles more. I really loved the 2017 Eagles team that upset the Patriots with Nick Foles. Just such a great sports story. But I'm happy for Saquon Barkley because he's in a good situation. But everybody been knowing the Eagles are a good team. We just saw them in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs 2 seasons ago. And no one besides Chiefs fans wants to see them in the Super Bowl. Yes, the three-peat, I guess, is a cool historical thing, but we're sick of it, man. It's just not good for the general viewership. I haven't met anybody yet who's really like a football fan that's excited for this game. I do think, objectively, we will get a good football game. Both are obviously good teams. I think we haven't seen an all-around complete defense like the Chiefs go against Saquon Barkley in this playoff, so that'll be pretty interesting to see. I really don't want either team to win. But if I had to, I am rooting for the Meteor to end it all.
I was just going to say the same thing. Meteor, wherever it is, good luck, New Orleans.
I'm going to go ahead and take the Eagles.
You're picking the Eagles? Oh, shoot. All right. Let's pick it out. So you're picking the Eagles. Give me a score. Let's make it interesting because we only got one game to predict. I might watch the Puppy Bowl.
That might be worth it. Yeah. Hey, halftime show, Kendrick Lamar and I think SZA.
SZA.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
I'm doing some math real quick because I'm not the biggest football score analyst.
Most scores can work. If it's like above the score of 20, you're pretty solid, I feel like.
Especially with these two teams.
I'm going to say the Chiefs get 21.
Okay. Ooh.
And
Eagles got a good defense.
And then the Eagles... 32 a common score?
Yeah,
it can happen.
32 can happen.
Okay. Then
all right, so beat them by 2 possessions. Brody, give me your prediction.
Considering the Chiefs didn't really score above 30 a lot this season. I'm going to put them just below 30 a little bit, maybe 27. Eagles, with their offense and their defense, hopefully finding a way to get past the refs. I'm going to put them at 35, maybe 31. I think it'll be a little bit closer. It's just I want the Eagles to win, but
Yeah.
I just there's that gut feeling in me that something's going to happen.
The difference for last year's Super Bowl is I do despise the 49ers, and last year the Chiefs they hadn't gotten the repeat yet, so I was like, I rooted a little bit more for the Chiefs, but this is the opposite time. I'm rooting for the Eagles. I do believe on paper, especially with Saquon, they are the better team, but it's the Chiefs. And at the end of the day, Mahomes is the better quarterback than Jalen
Yeah,
Hurts.
it's hard to root against the Chiefs. Thank you, Liam, for telling me that this year.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be really close. It's gonna be. I think Eagles. If it doesn't go into OT, Eagles 32, Chiefs 31. It's going to be very close. I think they should win, but if the three-peat happens, I'm not surprised. But obviously, the two teams that got to the Super Bowl had to get there, from their own respective games, the NFC and AFC championship games. Did you guys happen to watch them this past weekend?
I watched the ending of the AFC championship game just because I'm like, I saw the Bills were winning at one point. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll turn it on just to see if they actually do it. And lo and behold, I mean, why am I even shocked at this point?
So you guys didn't watch the full game. Alex, did you see any highlights or anything? You look so sad.
Yeah, because everybody knows that the Chiefs are going to win.
Right. And, I'm wearing the Josh Allen shirt. I feel so heartbroken for Josh Allen and Bills Mafia because I'm a Bills fan, but not like I am a Packers fan. But it's just like the Brewers. Like, I genuinely think that franchise is cursed.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is such a great quarterback, and he just happens to play Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's 0-4 in the postseason. Like, I hate to say it, but Mahomes owns him. And I don't know if you guys saw the penalties, because that's an elephant in the room. Did you guys see those calls?
I saw maybe a few of them, but from what I hear, it's just terrible.
The two that really upset me in the AFC Championship game, one was there was a catch that Xavier Worthy caught that Bills fans were like, it should have been an interception, but the ball hits the ground. But in hindsight, it kind of doesn't matter because the Bills were already offsides, and I didn't even realize that in the time. So that penalty would have already gotten the Chiefs first down. But the big one is there was like 6-7 minutes left in the game when the Bills were driving, and it was 4th and inches. And they gave him a little bit of a bad spot, so they had to do a QB sneak. And side note, the Bills couldn't run a quarterback sneak like the whole or like the tush push all game. They were doing it really bad, really poorly. And so they did it that time, and I don't know if you guys saw, like he got the first down.
He got over the line.
He got over the line, and they said he didn't get it. So poor officiating that ends up working in the Chiefs' favor. It sucks, and obviously Alex is very happy about it. But you know what's good news, Alex? The Tennessee Titans have the #1 overall pick. Woohoo! There we go. Get some joy back in here. Obviously, repping the draft. The draft this year is in Green Bay. I will be there. Gonna definitely be filming some content for the show. But in the meantime, are you excited?
Travis Hunter and Shanae.
Honestly, those are probably the best 2 picks you can get for the Titans.
The Titans.
both?
I was one of the people that thought the Titans this upcoming season or this past season, I should say, were actually going to be better than people thought. I thought there'd be like a 7 or 8 win team, maybe have a chance to get a wild card spot. They were not. They were
dog trash.
They were bad.
But now that we're going to get Travis Hunter, we are going to.
He is a generational talent. But
gonna
what
be
do you do? Do you have him play both sides of the ball? That never happens in the NFL.
He plays both sides of the ball.
All right. Well, I guess I'll hop on over to obviously, congrats to the Chiefs and the Eagles. But anyway, moving on from that, obviously a disappointing end to, in my opinion, a fun Packers season with a lot of expectations, with many highs and lows. We obviously left off end of last semester where I predicted the last 4 games and predicted our playoff push. And in real time, I watched our teams kind of fall apart. I watched the Vikings-Packers game. I waited to see it. I purposefully recorded. I had to help my cousins move in Illinois.
Okay.
So I had my phone. I had the game recorded. I stayed off my phone for 5 hours, and I watched it, and I was like, "We're not ready. We're not ready." Like I thought we would be. And then we played the Bears. I went to that Bears game.
Me too.
Mateo is not here. Yeah, you were at that one?
I was at that one.
I'm so sorry.
Dude,
It wasn't it's not that we lost to the Bears, which obviously that sucks, but Josh Jacobs was out pretty much at the start of the second quarter. Love was out. But it was just, you could just feel the presence of, we're not ready to win right now. And at the end of the day, if Carl Brooks doesn't put his hand on a field goal, we're 0-6 in the division.
Sure.
That is, yes, we improved. I will say, the Packers, compared to the season before, had a harder schedule, and we got more wins, especially because, Jordan Love was out at the start of the season.
We almost thought it was going to be the end of the season from the first game.
Right. So that adversity that we ended up overcoming was huge, but going 1-6 in the division, obviously that's tough. I have a lot of hope for the future. I think we've got a lot of things going for us. At the end of the day, I think the Love injury, week 1, kind of cursed us a little bit. I don't know what it was, but I feel like every time Love kind of came back from an injury, he got a new one. He got 3 injuries over that season, and this draft is going to be another big one for us. This free agency cycle is going to be huge. It just came out today that Myles Garrett will not be getting traded. They said, even the GMs for the Browns said, even if it's 2 first rounders, they're not going to let him go. So we need a pass rusher. We need a corner, whether that's through the draft or not. But did you guys see the rest of the NFC North in the playoffs?
It made me feel better that the Vikings lost it was the same day or the day after? No, day after.
Did you see? So you didn't see that, you said, Alex? The Detroit Lions had the most hype I've ever seen this football team get, and they lost their first playoff game to the Washington Commanders, which I don't even care that they lost to the Eagles. Nobody thought that team would get as far as they did and beat a team that everyone was picking to go to the Super Bowl. And they whooped them.
Now, I get it that the Lions were hurt, but that's also, they played a good chunk of the season with a bunch of injuries.
Yes.
So they should have been prepared for this.
I like that you point that out because everyone right away was saying, oh, well, the team was hurt. And I'm like, okay, yes, a lot of the defense is still hurt. Obviously, you have Anzalone back, but whatever. There's a lot of guys hurt. The problem is the defense didn't turn over the ball 5 times. That was Jared Goff and the trick play from Jameson Williams. But that's the offense, who had 0 injuries. In fact, they had David Montgomery come back.
That's right. Yeah, he came back.
He came back for that game, and they were running the ball really effectively with Jahmyr Gibbs. We saw how Washington's run defense this last week was against Saquon. They're not good. But at the end of the day, the Lions, I think they just collapsed at the worst possible time. Part of it is because of their defensive injuries, but that's not why they lost. So people using that as an excuse, keep coping. Because Jared Goff is on the offense and threw 4 interceptions. Turned it over 4 times, threw 3 interceptions. But last thing before we move on, I know the NFL awards will be next week, so we'll have time to talk about this a little bit next week. But who do you think deserves the NFL MVP?
See, it's tough to say not Josh Allen when you're wearing a Josh Allen t-shirt.
Yeah.
But after last a couple weeks ago when they played the Ravens, I'm not saying Lamar is terrible in the playoffs. It's shows.
So unfortunate.
But regular season, he is so amazing. It's hard not to pick against him. But I feel like Josh Allen, just the way everybody counted out the Bills this season. Nobody thought the Bills were going to be where they are, or, making the AFC Championship this season.
I didn't think they'd get the 2 seed. That was
exactly. So I feel Josh Allen really contributed to that. It was basically him.
The wide receiver 1 was Khalil Shakir.
He wasn't bad.
He wasn't, but that's
Keon Coleman.
wide receiver
James Cook was good, but Josh
underrated.
Allen was that entire
Phenomenal.
team.
I agree.
So I'm gonna go with Josh Allen.
There's a lot of people you could pick. Saquon, even Joe Burrow.
Saquon too. Saquon's a good pick.
Yeah. You could pick the most random pick.
I like Lamar personally.
Yeah.
I just like how he plays. But when it comes down to the playoffs,
I will say, keep in mind that technically the MVP is a regular season award. They vote before the playoffs begin. So taking that in mind, you can pick Lamar because I haven't said my pick.
I'm gonna go with Lamar.
There you go. There you go. All right. So it's kind of like a pacifist pick, but I've been saying it since like week 17, right a little bit before the regular season ended. The last time this is true, there was a co-MVP award in 2003. I believe it was Steve McNair and Peyton Manning. Both had like very similar seasons. Both were great quarterbacks that year. I would bring it back. Saquon had a phenomenal year, and you got to give a lot of credit because he's the MVP for the Eagles. But you also have to give so much credit to the offensive line. The Eagles' O-line is the best in the NFL. I was saying it was the Lions. I am dead wrong. It is the Eagles by quite a bit, especially run blocking. But I would say it should be a co-MVP to my boy Josh Allen, but also Lamar, because, yes, they both ended up choking the playoffs. I'd say Lamar a little bit more because that game was more on him. The Bills, it's just the Chiefs. Like, that's all you got to say. But they have both. Lamar, I would say, has a little bit better stats. Lamar has also more turnovers than Josh Allen in the regular season, but he has less picks, though. Overall, both are just award them both. Like, they had insanely great seasons. I guess due to bias, I'd maybe say Josh Allen more because also, like, Lamar did have Derrick Henry, but James Cook is very underrated for the Bills. So I would say both. I'd give it to them both, but, I'm boring.
No, it's valid.
I'm vanilla. All right. That's enough for the NFL update. How about you give us what's going on in baseball, Mr. Kupsky?
So baseball is starting up in, I don't know, a couple of weeks or so. So spring training will be starting soon, so it'll really start ramping up. But as of right now, the Brewers traded Devin Williams to the Yankees. It sucks. But they got left-handed pitcher Nestor Cortez, who he has his moments, but I'm not totally big on him. And then they got a second base prospect in Caleb Durbin, who's really, really fast. Like, he's really, really fast. I think he set the Arizona Fall League record of stolen bases in a season. So that'll be fun to watch, especially with Pat Murphy's offense. So who will be the Brewers closer now? It could be Nick Mears from right here. It could be Trevor McGill. Could be who am I thinking? Abner Uribe, if he's not fighting people. Jake Bauers is back on a minor league contract. He has some upside on defense, made a lot of great plays, but still struggles offensively. He does have a couple big moments for the Brewers, but it's just, I don't know. I like Jake Bauers. He's going to be fun to watch. And then the Brewers also got Grant Anderson in a trade with the Rangers. Shout out Rangers. He had a great debut, striking out 7 in 3 innings of work I think a couple years ago, but since then he's been kind of just mid. I don't know. Not a whole lot of trades for them this offseason besides those. And then Jorge Alfaro signed a minor league contract with the team. Could be a backup to Contreras. He has major league experience and has his moments here and there. Mm-hmm. Gary Sanchez is gone, so could be a backup. And then in bigger news, rest in peace, Bob Uecker. Very, very sad day when I heard about this. Mr. Baseball passed away on January 16th at the ripe age of 90. Would have turned 91. That's a long ways away.
I know. Alex is man. I'm like, did I hear that?
I'm like, so because Lyric's turn 21 pretty soon. Shout out Lyric. But
really quick before you continue with this, Alex, how familiar? I mean, obviously you haven't. You weren't grow up here in Wisconsin, nor did I. So, did you know a lot about Bob Uecker before you heard about this?
No.
So
it's clearly a very big deal.
Yeah.
Bob Uecker here is like he's like Vin Scully, just like well known, or like Harry Carey for the Cubs. I mean, just a well known guy that, like, if you look up any broadcaster, like, he is like top 5, actually top 2 and not 2.
Yeah, I mean, he played for a couple of major league teams. One of them was it was the Braves when they were in Milwaukee. It wasn't the Brewers yet. But yeah, I mean, he had so much of an impact after. Obviously, you're going to say for how long he was our commentator and announcer, but he was on. He was even on SNL. He appeared on the. Was it Jimmy Carson?
Yeah,
Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson, and then David Letterman.
Yeah, he was on a lot of late night shows. Like, he was a really big entertainer, and like I went because I knew a decent amount. My dad is probably the biggest Brewer fan I've ever met, so he was obviously a little hurt, but he was expecting his passing. But I didn't know how much, just not necessarily non-related sports stuff, but how many like just general entertainment stuff. He was really funny, very funny.
I
So
mean,
obviously-
the biggest thing with him, actually, I think Bob Uecker's right here. Now that I think of it, Bob
That's why I
Uecker's
lined
right
him up.
here.
That's why I
Thank you,
lined him
Liam.
up right there.
Bob Uecker, the big thing about him, like he wasn't shy about saying, "Yeah, I didn't have a good career in baseball," and like he would
very
just
humble.
joke about it. He was super
was
humble
very
about it.
Joke about himself, absolutely.
Yeah, so he was. It was a very sad day when I heard about this. Actually, I was working and I heard about this. I'm like, no way. And then I looked it up. I'm like, oh man, it was a rough day.
Yeah.
He was a radio announcer for the Brewers for 54 seasons. I mean, that's a long time. Known also for his role as Harry Doyle in the Major League movies, which, in my opinion, the best movie I've ever seen. I would say it's must watch. I love Major League. I will rewatch
At least
that
you
movie.
say it in here because we got some film critics in this.
Look, I get it. I'm not, who am I but a history ed major? But I love Major
It's a
League.
good movie.
I
Very
love
funny.
Major League just because it's funny.
Yeah.
And just like it's
You like baseball, right?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, not at all, Jacob. I don't know. No, it's just one of those movies that like I can watch constantly because there's some moments in there that just like it's cheesy, but it's funny.
Yeah.
I like it. But other than that, last few things I have, the Hall of Fame class of 2025 was announced last week, actually, about a week ago.
Yeah.
3 new electees into the Hall of Fame. Ichiro Suzuki becomes the first Japanese player elected to the Hall of Fame. Played with the Seattle Mariners, New York Yankees, and Miami Marlins in his 19-year career. Ichiro was amazing to watch. He was 1 vote short of becoming the second unanimous Hall of Famer ever.
Dang.
If you're the one person that didn't vote Ichiro in, why, dude? Come on. He was like, I would say one of the best players, and he could have been even better if he came to America like right away. He came like, I think the age of 27, he came into the major leagues and still had a long career.
Yeah, 19 years. Wow.
CC Sabathia also became a first ballot Hall of Famer, Brewers legend, CC Sabathia. He, I think, has 300 wins in his career, just short of 3,000 strikeouts, and just overall one of those guys that, for the Brewers, when we got him in late July, he brought us to the postseason for the first time since 1982. So, played for the then Cleveland Indians, and then Brewers, and for the rest of his career with the Yankees. I think he won a World Series with them the year after he signed with them in the offseason. But CC Sabathia does credit the Brewers with like bringing a lot of fun to his career. So
awesome.
Shout out CC Sabathia. And then finally, finally in 10 years that he's been on the ballot, Billy Wagner makes a Hall of Fame, lefty reliever for the Houston Astros and a bunch of other teams. I would say easily the best lefty reliever of all time, just in terms of saves. Really hard-throwing lefty. And the funny thing about it, the reason he threw left-handed is because he broke his right hand, which he used to throw with, like when he was young. So he became a lefty, and after that, actually played for a D3 college and ended up going to the Hall of Fame now. So
Awesome.
Very cool news.
Alex, do you actually want to do the NHL updates now
Yeah.
instead of me doing NBA?
Is the NBA up to date?
Yeah, it is. I
Oh.
did it. You may have to reload it because I know. Yep, it is updated. I just
Okay.
checked. So you can do NHL.
Okay.
All right, get us going.
Okay, looking at the NHL quickly, Connor McDavid's return. He had a 3-game suspension.
I'm surprised
Yeah.
they suspended him.
Everybody in the hockey world thought it was outrageous, but hey, he did what he did. It doesn't matter. He came right back in the lineup, scored a goal in their 4-2 win over the Kraken. Ovi is 20 goals away at the time of recording from breaking the all-time goal record.
Ooh, Liam was talking about that in the December. One of the
They're
December
playing
episodes.
tonight as we're recording. They play in hour against Calgary. So
Yeah, just don't bring up the Sabres at all. Every time I look at my phone now, they lose. I feel like they just
dude, they're way behind.
they were fine when initially like, all right, they're not gonna completely suck, and now they've fallen off a cliff. So we'll see. Next season I might switch teams, but I don't know if I can do that. But anyway, sorry. Continue.
Team performance-wise, the Red Wings have been super hot recently. They are on a 3-game win streak right now, and I think before that, maybe 5 or 6 game win streak. They've been killing it. The Preds just ended their 5-game win streak as well. They'd started to pick it up, and they lost to the Ducks, so probably not going to go very far anymore. Winnipeg Jets, they've been hot all season. Connor Hellebuck, most wins, first to 30 wins this season. And Logan Thompson on the Washington Capitals just had his contract extended. He's had a great season in between the pipes.
So good.
Yeah, so he's been amazing this year.
Who do you think's gonna win it all?
Win it all?
Yeah, I know it's still pretty early for NHL, but
The Jets have been hot.
Not going to say Toronto. As much as they're first place right now over the Florida Panthers, could work Maple Leafs, but I'm not going to count them.
I mean, even the Capitals
Caps have been good. I like them.
Jets have been good. Stars.
the Jets have been weren't they like out of nowhere good, and they've now been like riding high consistent all season so far?
Rough a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Kind of same with.
But like for this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of same with the Canucks too. The Canucks like started out like the last few years have been awful, and then last year they really picked it up. This year I think it's been a little bit down for them. But they're also in a tough Pacific Division, so.
Yeah.
But the Jets, yeah, they started out hot. They were really, really good to start the season.
Absolutely.
No. So that's really all I got for the NHL.
Thank you, AP. I guess I'll wrap it up. Final segment, talking about the NBA update. It feels like a lifetime ago, but the Bucks won the NBA midseason cup against the Thunder all the way back in December. That was pretty cool, I guess. I obviously was a little bit of a hater when we talked about it. My basketball friends, like, they're like, hey, like, you know, Dame said he'd give money to the younger guys.
He did.
And that's great. So that's when he said that, I was like, okay, that makes a little more sense. Personally for me, it's hard to look at it in the mentality of the finals. But in my personal opinion, these last couple of finals have been pretty doo-doo. I watched a little bit of Mavs Celtics, and I was actually rooting for the Mavs because I don't like the Celtics. And, yeah, we know how that went. We did it. That was so boring. But anyway, besides that, the Bucks are now 26-18 and have jumped all the way up to 4th place in the East. They're top 5 in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, when the season began, they were poo-poo caca, really bad. Like, I was stressing, and I guess I have faith now. I mean, we've kind of gained some ground. We're obviously winning a lot more than we've been losing the last month or so. But Chris Middleton was having a rough season. Didn't come back at first. Obviously having that injury last season during the playoffs, and you know he's been having a bit of a rough year due to injuries, and had a particularly bad game against the Clippers several days ago where he had 0 points. And I remember all on my social media, like out of nowhere, it felt like everyone's like, all right, Chris Middleton's got to go. And I was like, oh, I got to catch up on the lore. And then the next game, it was the other night. I think it was against the Jazz, where he responded, had a solid game, 22 points. But I'm sure you guys have heard about the Jimmy Butler drama. We haven't talked about a lot of any other like NBA teams, but he was suspended. I remember, I think it was sometime in December for not going to meetings, not going to practice, and he just got suspended for a couple of games. I think it was 2 games again by the Heat.
Missing a flight.
Missing a flight with his team. Like, Alex Proctor, Brody Kupsky, what are your thoughts?
And now he's suspended indefinitely because he didn't show up to practice, or he was arguing in practice. It's a guy that, like, you could trade for him, but with all the drama that's surrounding him, it's kind of hard to go after him. He's a great player, and he's still, like, he really shined for the Heat the last few years, but with all the drama that's surrounding him, it's kind of hard to try to go for him or try to keep him if you're the Heat.
What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, same thing as Brody, but I mean, just kind of, where's his head at?
I remember when the Heat beat us in the playoffs a couple seasons ago, and Heat were riding high, and I think they lost the game before the final or the series before the finals. And since then, they've been good. But, like, I don't know. It gives me a lot of – because I'm a football guy. It gives me a lot of Antonio Brown vibes.
Yeah, I can see it.
And Antonio Brown, a little bit more of a character in a sense. CTE ESPN. I'd say he's not on that level yet, but I heard a lot of people saying, like, hey, we could get in a trade, like get Chris and a couple other guys to get Jimmy. I don't know. Like, even with the more casual fan that I am, I don't know if I'd want that toxicity in our locker room, especially when there's even still somewhat questions with, oh my gosh, who's our head coach?
Doc Rivers.
Yeah, Doc. I was gonna say Adrian Griffin. I'm like, no, that's who we fired. With Doc, and obviously we've responded since a lot of the critiques of how our season began. But rumors of a trade with Jimmy Butler or Bradley Beal. Isn't Bradley Beal pretty old?
Bradley Beal has been in the league for a while. But
Yeah.
That's definitely a guy that, like, if we did get him, yeah, it'd be cool. I don't know if I want to get him, but the way it's heading right now, if we don't try to pick somebody up and maybe get rid of some guys, like, it'll probably end in maybe a playoff loss. But I would say one guy that I'm big on with the Bucks, AJ Green.
Derry Bird.
Derry Bird is awesome.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean, I don't think Connaughton's good anymore because I've heard he's been involved in trade rumors too. But
he's been awful this season.
I don't even know what kind of value you could get out of a guy like him. But really quickly, still, even it was the same a month ago. The Cavs and the Celtics are leading in the West. Cavs still reign supreme in that one spot. And then the Thunder also still, a month later, reign supreme in the West. Now with the Rockets and the Grizzlies a few games behind, I didn't see how the Memphis Grizzlies were getting hyped. And clearly they've been really solid throughout this whole season. But, yeah, I mean, that's really all I got for today. Do you guys have anything else for me? Obviously, we got to watch you, Mr. Alex Proctor, this weekend. Some big games against River Falls. Thank you, everyone, tuning in. We got a lot of big things planned. Make sure to check out the Pointer Studios Instagram. Also, just check out all the other content we have on here. Entertainment, news, all the above. We even had our own trivia episode with entertainment. But that'll be all from us. From all of us at SportsPoint, we'll see you next time.